This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I'm Anthony Mormino on what could only be classified as a stupendous November 18th morning. I mean, this is glorious.
They said though a little rain though later, which I'm hoping that holds off because I still have a little bit of raking to do. I got a lot of it done over the weekend. Managed to bag up a bunch of leaves, and I want to go out and run the mower through one more time and mulch up what I didn't get. But I need a couple more hours of sunlight. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you are, my friend. But I think it's supposed to drop back about 20 degrees the rest of the week.
That's what I say.
So I told my son, I said, enjoy today's autumn coat to school, but it'll be a winter jacket the rest of the way. A couple quick things yesterday, Seth. We had fog in New York, and we had slop at Churchill Downs. Not quite, a menu we would seek. And one quick note I'd like to say, I like to talk about this a lot because I love because I tease. I tease because I love. I mean, how about, Seth, you did Churchill yesterday?
I did.
You hit like 8 of them yesterday?
I didn't get a chance to actually sit down and do it, but I did not handicap for the sloppy track, which was my mistake. I don't know whether I misread and so the turf races, I was on the turf and whatnot, and so I didn't make any dirt picks. But one of my turf races, when they switched over the dirt, still wound up with a cold $69 exacta. So I'll take credit since I didn't.
I tell people, one quick thing. I think yesterday the betting at Churchill Downs, I think the longest price favorite might have been 2-1. I mean, there was a plethora of horses, 7-5 odds-on horses. I think 2 or 3 odds-on horses, 1, 2 or 3 odds-on. But here's the point I wanted to get to late in the day. Here were the mutuals late in the day at Churchill Downs: 560, 460, 340, 320. So my natural inclination was, well, let's see if we had an $18 pick 4. So, I mean, the parlay is $35, and we've talked. I would never. The parlay actually came back $86. Now you got the slop, and you got 100% more than the parlay. I mean, that's pretty good. But a $35 parlay. So those who bet the chalk yesterday, late in the day, they scored out. But I have. Talking about, I think I can make my point. I know I brought it up a couple weeks ago, talking about the 2-year-old filly championship and the idea that I really don't believe, whomever they are, they're paying attention. And I use the blind luck 2-year-old experience in the Starlet. Seth, a couple weeks ago, the Monday after the ARC, he asked me what was the best performance of the weekend, and we both concurred that Trev was clearly the dominant one. What was the best stakes-winning performance this weekend?
This weekend? Because I haven't actually video-wise looked at all of them. I haven't.
You don't have to watch all of them. That's my job for horses and courses. But there's a lot of nice races, competitive races. Churchill Downs had the 2 stakes races on Friday. They were nice, full fields.
Oh, the 2-year-old filly out, and that's what you're getting at. Okay,
absolutely.
They're very impressive.
Arethusa.
Arethusa.
Now, there's just a couple things. It's a Darley runner. Owen Hardy, Koi Nakatani, Familiar Silks, etc. Was a maiden, was like 0 for 2 or 3 coming into the race. All right, the Cat's Cradle is a 2-turn prep race for the Starlet, Grade 1, etc. Boom. And the reason I'm really bringing this up, we talk about the 2-year-old fillies. Will it be Rhea Antonio? How is this going to go? And I said it's going to be Rhea because they just don't watch. Maybe she's a tigress. But this is my point. She was great on Saturday. I mean, she's an offspring of AP Indy. This is when you start to think she's good. If you watch the race, she's dynamic. Seth, I asked Seth, I didn't tell him why, but Seth, go now, lighten up. This is how I think the game, people say that I have a West Coast bias. Seth, just quickly, on the right-hand side, first page of the bloodhorse.com. Now, I also want to note, Seth, this race at Hollywood Park went off at 4:30 East Coast time. So this wasn't a 7:30 at night stakes race. Just list some of the highlight names in here. Just the headline points. Some of them were races, some were horses.
Cigar Mile Trio, Breezes, nominations for the Clark, Yutakataki in Japan, Emotional Kitten, Surging River, 7, Will Take Charge, returning to the Clark, Groupie Doll, Breezes, etc., etc.
But Imagining Pants on Fire, Alpha Better, up in time in the Woodbines Autumn. And I'm going to tell you something. When Seth gets a chance, we'll work together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We get a chance and you look at them. I am saying if you watch HNC on the network or you watch stakes races around the country, to me, it was clearly the dominant race of the year. And throw into that the connections, the pedigree. She was brilliant. Like, I really think, Seth, if she wins the Hollywood Starlet, for folks that pay attention for 365 days, she would be the champion. And she's nowhere. And the race took place 4:30 East Coast time on Saturday. To me, that's an example of it's incomprehensible that a performance where you win by 10, you're a 2-year-old, you're a connections that pay $23, and I always say this, Seth, if you watched her, this was a case where the winning margin, the time, was concurrent with what she looked like on the track. The fractions were reasonable. She looked like a pro the whole way. Heck, she looked like AP Indy when in his third career start. He won the Hollywood Futurity 22 years ago. My point being, as a guy who had Emotional Kitten in the Mrs. Revere and all these other races that actually took place after Arethusa, this is an example where I say to you, they're not paying attention. This is the bloodhorse.com. This should be one of the top 3. Like, it should be smashing. Maiden smashes Sharp Cat Stakes. Well, it should be that way to draw your attention. Nobody this morning should be unaware of how good she was.
I will.
Just my opinion.
Flipping over to the Daily Racing Form, I will say it is on their front page, so at least Racing Forum was paying attention to it.
I mean, it just goes, I mean, and like I said, I understand in the old days, pre-1991, Seth, Southern California ran their bigger of the 2 stakes races on Sunday. Then in 91, they switched them for the big cap in that American Championship Racing Series, and they went forward from there. So in the old days, Sunday night at about 8 o'clock East Coast time, and we didn't have the internet, we didn't have Twitter, Facebook, any of that stuff, and it was different. But now it ran at 4:30, earlier than some of these stakes races they had here, which, by the way, were nice, fun, but where are we going with Emotional Kitten? We think she's, running, it was just a nice Mrs. Revere. But that's where I like to think that when I say to my friends on the East Coast that they just don't pay attention. By the way, and I really thought it was a dynamic 2-year-old performance. And apparently we're always supposed to be dialed into, we're dialed into 2-year-old maiden races at Saratoga, Corfu, I don't know if you saw him still getting bet down to favoritism in 2-year-old races.
Laurel, I think just to pledge her name attracted a lot of attention there.
So, but that, I would just put forth that as an example. I thought it was the most dynamic race, and also the type of idea, I'm not saying this is fair or not, but the idea that not only was it dynamic, it has a lot of parts that would grab news headlines, and secondly, you would think that she has room to go forward, that the best of her career really started with that race. Forget the fact she was a maiden. She was an AP Indy winning a 2-year-old stakes race, albeit going 1 mile and 16. And by the way, when you watch it, I think it's, I talked about Blind Luck, her performance of the decade going 2 turns. Well, I think Arethusa has put up like a dynamic 2-turn stakes race. But apparently if you go to bloodhorse.com, you need to be Sherlock Holmes. But kudos.
2 weeks in a row, though, nice 2-year-old performances out in Southern California.
Yeah.
The Shared Belief the week before, and now Arethusa this weekend, both the boys and the girls. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward now.
Be interested in the first bet for the Kentucky Derby.
And I just pulled up, yesterday I had the odds from William Hill.
Because now there is a bookmaker.
Shared Belief before the Hollywood preview was 175 to 1. After the Hollywood preview, I couldn't find the Vegas odds, but I found William Hill. William Hill moved down to 50 to 1.
See?
But I pulled up.
What is it I always tell you? If you would like Shared Belief in the Hollywood Futurity, you want the windows to close before races, not after. Even
more indicative, I found the most updated Las Vegas odds this morning, 22 to 1. On the 175.
175. You liked them Saturday afternoon in the preview. 22. I'm not so sure how you're supposed to play the game, but I think I have an idea.
And that 22 is probably not going to be seen in that first future book waiver.
No.
I'm sure this horse is going to. Do want to mention before we get to the handicapping, if you're a boxing fan, head down here to the Clubhouse Racebook tonight, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. It is the third of 5 big nights of boxing. They're held the third Monday of the month. a couple of more months after this, but tonight, November 18th, the doors open at 5:30, the first bout at 6:30. That's tonight here at the Clubhouse
Right outside
Racebook.
our
By all
doors
means,
here.
head down.
Very
All right,
nice.
we'll shift our attention to the handicapping portion of the program. I'm going to look at Finger Lakes a little later on, but we're going to kick things off with Parks 4 this afternoon. The opener is a conditional claiming event, $12,500. The tags, non-winners of 4 lifetime. The condition, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, 1 mile a trip.
You know, as we've worked through things at Capital Off-Track Betting, and I'm getting a Parks jurisdiction on Monday, Tuesday, just to let our audience know, I'm working to get caught up like a Hollywood Park. Parks is now in the Mormino mix with spreadsheets and stuff going forward, because it appears as if it'll be in my wheelhouse on Mondays. As we know, they run 365 days a year, so we'll be continuing to get, we hope, greater and broader insight into the Parks racing. Opening it up, 2, 5, and 3. I think it's a very enjoyable card this afternoon as they run on this Monday. I haven't taken a peek yet on Tuesday, which is rare for me, but I like some of the races as a function of where the morning line odds have fallen. And the first one is it, because 2, 5, 3 for me, and I'm 15-1 down inside. We're going the 2 turns at the mile distance. Is an offspring of Candy Ride, who has been exclusively, well, I should say predominantly sprinting most recent. Last 5 or 6 races are all sprints except one. And by the way, that one was a 1-mile race at Parks that they won by half a dozen. Now, that was 7,500 non-3. This is a heavier price tag, 9.4. We draw down inside. A Candy Ride rooting, I like a little bit more than sprinting. We're down inside. We're 15-1 on the morning line to kick off Monday's action. So number 1, Ebby Calvin LaLouche is my top pick to kick off the card. For second, number 5, Party Girl Appeal has hit the exact in nearly half of the 12 starts at Parks so far, and 3 of them were victories. Mario Saray sends out this runner. A couple races back, won the 3 out. Now, that wasn't a slop, and it was a very, very powerful effort. But on July 16th, won a 2L going a mile in a very, very powerful. His 2 most recent victories, both at Parks, both by 4.5. And for third, number 3, Perfectly Lovely, coming off of a 4-length victory, 2L, coming off of an 18-length victory at 3-5 at 3L. Now tries to make it 3 in a row in what I think is a highly competitive opener, 2, 5, 3 at Parks.
Race number 2 at Parks this afternoon, another conditional claimer. This time the tag 7,500. Condition non-winners of 2 lifetime. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 5.5.
And Seth, one of the things I immediately started noticing at Parks when we slid into the Monday and now Monday, Tuesday slot is you get. We've seen Angel Arroyo in New York for a while. Well, this is where he spends some of his days off. And now we have Trevor McCarthy, who you follow Laurel. This is where he spends his days off. And guess you got to be young to do that. 3, 6, and 7. We go to Trevor McCarthy at number 3. Hard Note. This horse scored a victory in Parks at the end of spring. Scored the victory. The most recent effort, just a line that I enjoy very much. When rooting at Parks, dueled, nothing left. You have the awful beaten lengths, the awful finishing position. You're like, well, that's good for the next start, especially if you don't have to end up dueling, especially if you don't have to run as far. Well, we're shortening up 2.5 furlongs this afternoon. We're looking at 8-1 for my top pick, number 3, Hard Note. Now, by 1, as I was trying to pull the trigger where to assign the number 1, I did the struggle for me certainly wasn't the price. It was the fact that this is a rock hard 10, who you're asking to dash 5.5. Not really. If you remember rock hard 10, first off, he was a gigantic runner, and going 5.5, I'm a little leery. But you know what? The horse won a second career start at Parks, going 5.5. For second, number 6, Rachie Nicole going out second race after breaking the maiden, first time versus winners at this level. Just a route on the pace. Backed up, got beat better than 24 lengths, now gets back to sprinting, taking on winners for the second time. For third, number 7, Bugski. This horse, after the career debut, which was at Hollywood Park on the cushion track, has had 4 races, all of them at Park. So all of them, well, I shouldn't say all of them, but they are all on the conventional dirt. There are no turf races. And I'll tell you, even the second one where he got beat double-digit lengths, that was just about pace. Scored first time at Parks going 5.5, and the most recent effort going 7. Could be a nice setup in here. And also, one of the things I'm trying to gauge even better is the idea that it makes sense that the 2L for 20,000 would be dramatically different from the 2L at 7,500. When you have the restricted language, I think, and it's the same, it does come down to dollars and cents. 3, 6, 7, the second race from Parks.
Race number 3 at Parks this afternoon is a maiden claiming event. The claiming tag's $10,000. Fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5 years old, going 5.5.
We've talked about this many times before. When they run the maiden claimers at Parks, it's not 3-year-olds and up. It's limited to 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. I think Fairgrounds might also do that. And a matter of fact, I think what Fairgrounds open on Friday. You got some people in the mix for Racing Across America coming up?
We will.
All right. I think Friday the 22nd is opening day at the Fairgrounds, an outstanding meet. 6, 7, and 1, Rich Chocolate gets my top pick. The most recent effort, a third-place finish at 3-1, exiting a strong pace race. So the third-place finish going 7/8 is no disgrace. We shorten up a furlong and a half, and Rich Chocolate gets my top pick for second, number 7. She loves the band. Of course she does. No. After the first 4 starts, which were little to write home about, has certainly found the elixir of life, being runner-up at better than 30-1. And oh boy, you can see this coming. At about 1/15 the price, runs less well, second good effort. Now this will be the third attempt after, I don't know, we could say shaking out the cobwebs to start the career. That's number 7, She Loves the Band. And for third, the rail, a little bit of luck. This horse showed nothing the first 2 starts, and then going 5 at Parks, finished second. 2 races later, in the most recent effort, finished second once again at Parks. Seems another runner who seems to have picked up the pace a little bit with some races under the belt. 6, 7, 1.
Another conditional claimer as race number 4. The tag $7,500. Condition on winners of 2 lifetime. Fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, 5.5.
9-3-2 as we are on the outside for race number 4. It is Rising Ember gets my top pick on the outside in the most recent effort. I talked about from time to time, often I talk about how the number 1 position when sprinting in North America can be very hazardous, but sometimes at 5 or 5.5, and if you remember the aforementioned Corvu's career debut, when they go 5, especially 5, but 5 and 5.5, the inside, for me, does not seem to be as penal because you get to the turn so quickly that it actually puts pressure on the outside horses. They can't keep you pinned down for two furlongs or such. They really have to make a decision. Well, Rising Ember did a good job most recently. Now gets the other side of the starting gate, and I have her on top. For second, number 3, Artful Persuasion. Don White sends out this runner coming off of repeated efforts at this level, as 1 for 24 would indicate this horse. The most recent effort I thought was better than the comment inside no menace when finishing 3 lengths, 3.25 lengths off of the win. For a third, number 2, Albertina. Horse has run 5 times, already been claimed twice. Now off of the second claim for 16,000, ran in starter allowance twice. Sprinting and rooting. I'm thinking, folks, that 7-2 here is folly. Because I would find 7-2 very attractive. I'm thinking even money on this runner, whether it's buyer speed figure people, whether it's class people, whatever it is. Boy, they're going to have to be suffering from much amnesia to let this horse go off at 3.5-1, because on paper, the 2 races before were very, very solid, and just the idea of starter allowance. Folks, starter allowance, we're just coming familiar with them in New York, but, 2 L's, claimer 2 L's, 7,500 starter allowance, I would think there would be great disparity there. 9-3-2.
5th race at Parks this afternoon, a conditional claiming event with the tags 10-5 to 12-5. Condition non-winners of 4 lifetime 3-year-olds and up, 6.5 furlongs. And
this is a race where I think I have a live one here at 8-1. I hope not too live to hurt the odds, but 3, 7, and 2, ladies and gentlemen, as we go 6.5. Proud Trick Now, only one start since July 14th, and out of that race was claimed into the new barn in middle part of September. Returns to the races for the first time in 2 months, which for me doesn't indicate a layoff, but this horse has had good speed, has clearly had, as visual on the paper, has clearly had trouble finishing the races, but we draw a good mid-pack type post position. Only one race since the middle of the summer in a new barn with good speed. I'll take my chances at 8-1 with number 3, Proud Trick. For second, number 7, our Blackjack. Going out for the second start since March, came back to the races on October 15th, ran a little bit and then chucked it in at this level. I think that was just practice for the return to the races, and I expect to see an improvement for a runner who's hit the board 10 out of 18 lifetime in Parks, and the racing over the winter, the last 3 before the layoff, were starter allowance races, and now comes back at this 4L. As I said, I know this horse came back at this exact level most recently, but that strikes me as just a warm-up for today's race. For third, number 2, Money in Action. Trisha Ferraro sends out this runner who was in very, very sharp form. Matter of fact, has won 2 of the 5 most recent, has a second-place finish in here, ran an open claimer, 16,000. You know, this is where I think more of a guessing game does come in, but this is a big, big relief back, finding a 4L here after winning a 3L at Penn National on October 5th. 3-7-2 in the 5th from Parks.
All right, we'll take our first break. When we come back, a continued look at Parks Racing, and then a little later on, Finger Lakes. Stay tuned.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at CapitalOTB.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest. I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network. Welcome back. Continuing now our look at Parks for this afternoon with race number 6. 14 to 16 claimers with the non-winners of 2 lifetime condition. These are 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs.
3-4-8, ladies and gentlemen, and Frankie Pennington gets them out on my top pick, and we'd like to see a 6-1 comeback race. Frankie Pennington rode this horse for the first time most recently, and I thought a nice off-the-board finish when rooting, and now cuts back on the dirt for this offspring of Siphon. For second, right next door in the starting gate, number 4, Babyface Aiden. A very nice 7-furlong effort a week ago under Trevor McCarthy. Finished off the board when starting from the parking lot behind my savior on Veterans Day, Draxall Woods, who was a very nice $20 horse. So Babyface Aiden comes out. I think that was a good off-the-board finish. We won't be near 30-1 this afternoon, coming back at just about the same level. Well, I apologize, for exactly the same level, coming back for the 14,000 tag again. For third, number 8, Torpedo Cat. They had blinkers this afternoon. Now, this horse did win rooting at Delaware for a tag, but the two most recent efforts against winners has shown no early speed and goes to 7 furlongs. I like horses shortening up. They're adding blinkers, which I think they want to get in the game earlier. This horse has, in 2 of the 5 races, has shown a, talent. So I think we're live with this 15-1 shot. Obviously, if we get the most recent effort, we won't be live, but there is stuff to hang our hat on, 3, 4, and 8.
Race number 7 at the Parks this afternoon, a plain vanilla claimer at the $7,500 to $8,000 level. These are 3-year-olds and up. Again, they're going to go 7 furlongs.
And you can hear the surprise in my partner's voice. I mean, we have, in a very short period of time, Seth, really, we turned the claiming world upside down. Seth, I've been doing the Handicappers Report now for 15 and a half years, and I can remember when in New York, the non-winners of 2 lifetime crept in, A, on the inner dirt track, B, the final race of the day, C, about 1 every 3rd race. I mean, that was how it worked in, and obviously know where we've gone, and that's why very rarely, except like it seems like at Keeneland, 6-3-7, Cat in the Forest, 9-2 on the morning line. Stu Elliott was aboard the Victory 2 races back when leaving the Bruce Brown barn. We saw this horse in New York multiple times. Well, has had 3 starts at Parks, and both of them are sharp efforts. A strong victory, then a 3rd place finish, following it up in a restricted claimer. I've talked about this before. You see the price tag, claiming 5. And Seth, years ago when they had the claiming races, what they decided to do with the daily race format, at that time I thought it was a great idea. They put the claiming price for your horse individual. Like I talked about Torpedo Cat. It was a 16 to 14. This horse ran for 14. So they would put the exact amount that you ran for. Then they'd put parentheses, the entire condition, which usually low levels, 2,000, 5,000 for uploads, and then the date. My point being, Seth, nowadays take away all of that spacing and give me the dates, non-winners of a race, and how many days would be better information. This horse is sharp right now. Don White seems to have not missed a beat with this horse. Draws a good pose position, and it's 9-2, taking on the open claimers, 8,000, which is the hurdle for me. And scheduled to break for the number 8 post position. How often do you say this? Boy, in this day and age, Seth, there are 3 coupled entries. And in the 8 post position is number 3, Forest Meadow, who has run at Parks 42 out of 45 lifetime efforts. Think he knows the way around the racetrack. Scored a day after Labor Day rather convincingly. That was in a dated claimer for third, number 7, Disco Rhythm. Formerly in the New Jersey Tim Kelly barn, now has Ned Allard, 6-3-7 in the 7th.
Race number 8 at Parks this afternoon, a state-bred allowance event. Non-winners are 1 other than the condition. 3-year-olds and up, 3/4 of a mile a trip.
7-4-9 for me, and Desire to Acquire. Ari Louis Vaz gets my top pick. Second off the Monmouth Park claim for $25,000, and the 7 furlong effort at this level to me is the classic. Finishing 10th, beating 12.5 lengths is a function of the pace, pressure, deacceleration, and exhaustion, which makes the final running position awful. And I think it's one of the most powerful effects on the next time out price. And you start to think, well, if I don't get the same internal type of fractions, I truly believe my horse will run appreciably better. And that's my thought with number 7, Desire to Acquire. For second, number 4, Golden Punch, making the first start since early autumn for Guadalupe Preciado. Goes out as the 2-1 morning line favorite, coming off of a Turf Sprint Open allowance race. Has multiples. This is like, they have 6 listed bullets, but 4 of them, the 4 most recent ones, are the ones post the last recent race. And for third, number 9, 7-4-9 in today's feature.
In the ninth race at Parks this afternoon, it is a maiden claimer at the $10,000 level. These are 3, 4, and 5-year-olds going 6 furlongs.
4-11, 1A, and I truly like what I think is getting done to number 4, Undiscovered. They're taking blinkers off for this offspring of Mineshaft. Now, we are sprinting here for an offspring of Mineshaft who's the son of AP&D, and, you know, you might think that rooting in 2 turns is their game, but this horse, going 5.5, showed some real ability to contact the field, to stay in contact with the field, and I thought a sneaky good off-the-board performance. Taking blinkers off here, I'm entrusting that they trust that the horse can stay in contact with the field, can relax a little bit more, and hopefully we'll have a better finishing kick on our 10-1 morning line shot, number 4, Undiscovered. 4 second, now we got to go outside here for a couple neighbors. Number 11, Brother Leo. 2 races back, an impressive effort trying to make every pole a winning one at 6-5. The second quarter of a mile might have been just a bridge too far. And just to let you know, the 11 is surrounded by the 1 in the number 10 post position, and my third pick, the 1A, scheduled to break for the number 12 post position. So in the finale, 4-11, 1A.
That'll wrap us up for looking at Parks for this afternoon. We'll take our next break. When we come back, we'll shift our attention upstate New York and Finger Lakes. Stay tuned.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Listen to what people are saying about the Clubhouse Racebook.
I've been coming here for well over 30 years to the OTB, and I think this is an outstanding facility. Probably comparable to something you'd see in Vegas. They have the big screens there, and then they have the auxiliary screens for, you know, watching all the tracks. And the primary tracks of the day, they'll switch to the big screens, which is ideal for most of us race guys. We like to see the big races on the big screen. Well done.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m., OTB TV.
Back, ladies and gentlemen, alongside Seth Merrill, I'm Anthony Mormino. Monday morning, we have put Parks in our rearview mirror. Now turning our attention to Canandaigua, New York, and Finger Lakes. Opener is 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $7,500. Non-winners of 3 races of the lifetime, going 6 furlongs.
We'll go with the boys at my brother's alma mater, the Bonaventure Stables, the folks from St. Bonaventure that put together a little racing outfit. And this one is aptly named Bonaventure Magic. Number 7 on top, 7, 5, 3, and 4. Bonaventure Magic, I just think is getting back to the proper level. Broke the maiden up here at Finger Lakes for $4,500. Then they bumped up to a 12-5 non-winners of 2 lifetime, won that, and then they got ambitious and went into allowance company. And the horse had a little punch early, but faded pretty badly late. Now drops back in for a $7,500 conditional tag. As I say, I think probably getting back into the comfort zone. Second spot, Mabry's Girl, goes out for trainer Chris Engelhardt. I just think, as I looked at the complexion of this race, I think there's going to be some interesting early speed in here that can kind of set things up and maybe make it palatable late for Mabry's Girl to make a nice run down the stretch in the similar fashion that she did last time. Now, that was on a sloppy seal track, may have been aided that day by the condition. But we go 3 starts back, showed a little speed, also on a sloppy sealed track. You go 4 starts back, fast track, showed a closing effort. So we see the ability to kind of be up near the pace or close a little bit. And the 2 nice efforts are on sloppy tracks, but you go 4 back, ran well on a fast track also. And I think that race from last time and 4 back will be the strategy today. Sit a little bit off because I think there will be some speed to shoot at. 3rd spot, Lazulite, the number 3 horse, the other Chris Engelhart entry. Chris Engelhart has Mabry's Girl at 5-2 and Lazulite at 4-1. And I think Lazulite, again, the other half, the longer half of the uncoupled Chris Engelhart entry in here. In some pretty good form, last 4 starts, couple of wins, couple of second place finishes. Both of those are since moving to Finger Lakes from the Naira circuit. I think Lazulite has found a home. The numbers may just be a little bit lighter than the horses I have on top, but I think this horse is going to be very interesting in here today, as I say, as the uncoupled half of the entry. In the opener at Finger Lakes, 7, 5, 3, and 4.
Now, Seth, how old is your older brother?
My older brother is, how old is well, he was out there when Bob Lanier was playing.
I was going to say, so he was there for the St. Bonaventure Magic, so he's about 65.
Bob Lanier and Billy Calbaugh, a little younger than that, the touch under that.
So he's probably like a freshman when they won.
Yeah.
So I would say the Magic that I know from St. Bonaventure is the 1970 run to the Final Four, and if Bob Lanier had been healthy, it might have been a farther run than the semifinals. On to the second half of the early daily double. We have 3-year-olds and up. These are fillies and mares for the popular claiming tag of $4,500. Non-winners of a race since November, 365 days, going 6.
7, 3, 1, and 6. The number 7 is Shahzadi. The numbers prior to the latest are good enough, and so this is one of those where that last number looks like a little bit of an aberration to me. I'm going to look for a rebound back to those prior good numbers. Now, last race was on a sloppy sealed track. We'll have to watch and see what the track condition is today. Maybe that affected that aberrational number last time, and so keep that into consideration. If the track condition isn't fast, you may want to juggle this one around a little bit, but I'll put Shahzadi on top. Second spot, the number 3, April, May, June. This horse is just interesting to me in that has a lot of speed and is cutting back today. Last 3 races have been in a mile, has shown some good speed and faded, now goes 3/4 of a mile today. I think that speed could prove very, very dangerous on the cutback. And the number 1, Ty Wonder, just one of those horses I think fits with this bunch. You look at the numbers and you look at the finishing positions, just as compared to the rest of these in here. Again, certainly after my top pick, but probably after my top 2, this one is the one who looks the most next logical in here. So in the second race at Finger Lakes this afternoon, 7, 3, 1, and 6.
And Seth, just to drive my point home even farther, when I clicked on the bottom one of the Blood Horse, More News, she doesn't show up there either.
I looked through it before.
She didn't even make the More News.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm wondering though what the situation is because of that with their, over the weekend with what they do in Southern California, because certainly that seems like it should have made the
Apparently she wasn't good enough. On to the third, 3-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $7,500, non-winners of 4 lifetime, racing the 2-turn mile.
1, 2, 5, and 3. The number 1 is Snap Call. 6-1 on the morning line. That looks perhaps a little generous to me, but I think the fact is it's a what have you done for me lately situation. This horse went off last time at 25 cents to the dollar, a heavy favorite on the move from the Naira circuit. Off a long layoff. Showed some good speed, faded, may benefit from that though. I'm going to give this horse another shot. A beaten, chalky favorite, floats around that 6-1 today. Again, I think that could be generous on the back class, having run decently this past winter on the Aqueduct inner surface, has run well at Finger Lakes prior to that. I think might have needed that last one. So we'll put Snap Call on top. Second spot, the number 2, Winning Pal. Just a horse that's in some pretty good form. Last couple of starts, 3rd place finishes, then a 1st, then a 3rd, then another 1st. So, you go back over the last 5, 6 starts. Now, only, the last 3 have been since late summer, but even those are indicating some pretty good form. So I think Winning Pal is just one that is moving in the right direction at this moment. And then the number 5, Bulldog on a Bone. Might prove interesting on the stretch out. This is a horse that's a little more sprint meant, 4 starts back, was going long and showed a little punch and faded. But again, I think off of the last few, which were some pretty good numbers, I think this horse, Bulldog on a Bone, could be a little bit interesting today. We'll see. I have it in the third, 1, 2, 5, and 3, and I will say the top 2 to me stand out enough. I'll do a little play of the day in here with my top 2. I'll box up the 1 and 2 in here, but again, 1, 2, 5, and 3.
Well, now I'm completely convinced because I went to equidaily.com and you couldn't find anything to put on your site referring to her moment in the sun.
Oh, go down to the is it in the under the Hollywood section?
I don't know, but she
Hollywood, left-hand side of the top of the column, top of the left-hand column.
You'll find out I introduced the races. But she didn't make the headlines for Seth either on his
Right there,
equidaily.com.
right there.
Okay.
It goes down into the
Oh,
Hollywood
below
section.
the fold.
Well,
Below
it's
the
down
fold.
at Hollywood and New York both have their own sections.
Yeah.
So the stakes section gets down
Well,
into that.
thankfully we have this other stuff. That's there you go. On to the 4th race, 3-year-olds and up. I really hope she wins this championship. 4,500 non-winners at 2 races since May 18th, going 6 furlongs.
I have it 1A, 6, 7, and 8, and the 1A is Roman's Touch. Roman's Touch goes out for Anthony Ferraro. Had been racing at Presque Isle, but moved up to Finger Lakes last time. Ran a good 4th. Again, it's one of those, was a 6-5 favorite that day, beaten by about a length, but I think it's just one where maybe she got some education over the Finger Lake surface, moving from the synthetic to the dirt. And it was a good enough performance that I don't think there's anything negative about the move to the dirt. May just, as I say, get her feet under her with some education on the track. Roman's Touch on top. Second spot, the number 6 Estimator. Dangerous on the best effort. It's one of those where every once in a while you get a regression, like you got a couple of starts back, but they gave this horse a little bit of a layoff that seemed to rebound. Showed some nice speed last time, but just got caught. Wound up 5th in a field of 7, but not a badly beaten 5th, and I think second off a little bit of a layoff. Could get back to some of those numbers we were sitting in the summertime, which is going to put Estimator right in the thick of things. And then the number 7, Butler Cabin, might be getting some slight class relief. The last couple of starts have been in open 4,500s. Prior to that, a B-level 10,000, now a 4,500 calendar condition. So as I say, on the condition, I think this horse might be getting some slight class relief and throw in one of the better efforts. In the 4th at Finger Lakes, 1A, 6, 7, and 8.
On to the 5th race this afternoon. We have 3-year-olds and up in for a claiming tag of $4,500. Non-winners of 2 races lifetime. Going 2 turns, a mile 40.
I have an 11, 4, 9, and 2. The number 11 is No More Taxes. Just a horse that has the best recent numbers. You look at the last 3 races, 52, 53, and then go back 3 starts to a 47. But those 50s, 52 and 53, as I say, of the horses in here, off of their recent form, this is the one that looks to me to be the best, and 8-1 looks generous in here. We'll take no more taxes on top. AM Mayhem, the number 4 horse in the 2nd spot, won nicely on the move upstate. Now, the buyer figure was a little light in that as compared to what I want to see from a winning or an in-the-money performance from a horse in here. But that last effort didn't necessarily take a top effort to get it done at the maiden $4,500 level. So I'm saying we may not have seen the ceiling for this horse. I think AM Mayhem is going to fit very nicely at this 4,500 non-winners of 2 condition. 7-2 on the morning line. And then running for the money in the 3rd spot, the number 9. Often been in the hunt going back to late summer. This is a horse with 13 career starts. 13 starts this season at Finger Lakes, as well as Presque Isle earlier in the year. Of those, 5 have been in the money, but has seemed to do better since that move from Presque Isle to Finger Lakes. So as I say, since the late summer, been knocking at the door and certainly picking up pieces more often than not. So running for the money gets in the hunt for me as well. I'm going to do a little 4-horse exacta-box play of the day in here and hope my morning line holds up because, as I say, my top pick at 8-1 I think is a little bit generous. Right underneath we have 7-2 with AM Mayhem. So again, 4-horse exacta-box play of the day, 11, 4, 9, and 2. And I will say that if I get a scratch, move the 10 into that box as well, but 11, 4, 9, and 2.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from Finger Lakes.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver Series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
I'm Mark Casano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, up to race number 6 at Finger Lakes this afternoon. 3-year-olds and up, optional claimers in for 10. Starting allowance for 5, going 5.5.
I got a couple of entries in the mix here. The 2 entry, 7, the 1 entry, and 6. The 2 entry, 2B, Exley, and the plain 2, William Thomas. I think both of these look pretty good. Between the two, I'd probably tilt a little bit towards William Thomas off of the last race. A nice 81 buyer figure, and buyer figure that is moving in the right direction. But I think Exley is also very good. Certainly likes the Finger Lakes surface, as does William Thomas. Again, probably tilt a little in the direction of William Thomas, but I think both of these have a little bit of an edge on this field. That is validated by the morning line of 8-5, so master of the obvious there, but I think it's going to be justified. Second spot, we'll go to the number 7, Idle Image. Raced last time for a 12.5 tag, decent 4th. Prior to that, 8,500, a good 3rd. So I think right in this 10,000 level, in the comfort zone. We go back a few starts, was bouncing around in here. And in fact, you go back to the end of the September, 1 for a 10,000 tag. So again, I think this 10,000 level is going to suit Idle Image. And then we will go to the 1 entry, the plain 1, Swinging at Zeros, and the 1A, La Freak. Similar situation to that 2 entry. Both halves work for me. Swinging at Zeros steps up, but the last win was pretty good. That was for 8,500, but again, it was done in a fashion I think this horse will fit. La Freak, the last time out, the buyer figure a little bit light, but it was on a sloppy sealed track. Finished behind entry mate, Swinging at Zeros, but I think the 2 starts before that put this horse right up in the mix. So for me, in the 6th, again, a couple entries in here. 2 entry, the 7, the 1 entry, and 6.
On to the 7th race, 3-year-olds and up claimers in for $4,500. Non-winners of 3 races in 6 months. Racing a mile 40.
1, 4, 8, and 2. The number 1 is Sherry's Tiger. Just has the best recent numbers. The last 3 starts, I think, fit very well with this group. Had been racing at Presque Isle Down since moving up to Finger Lakes. A 2nd place finish, and then a nice win last time. So again, one of those that got a little bit of an education over the track and then moved forward nicely. A couple of short prices and probably be a short price again today, but Sherry's Tiger looks legitimate. Number 4, Baby at the Park, might add a little juice to the exacta, 15-1 on the morning line. I'm just not quite sure that'll hold up, but I think if you look at the last 3 races for this one, seems to be moving in the right direction. The last was a $5,000 calendar condition, so yeah, maybe a touch of class relief, although with the condition, This may be more of a lateral move, but either way, I think this horse is racing good enough at this time that Baby in the Park stands a legitimate chance of being right up there in the mix, and at what could be a decent price. I'm not sure that 15 to 1 will hold up, but should be okay. The third spot, the number 8, Black Mandate. 8 to 1 on the morning line, and comes off a nice win at a 4,502 calendar, so bumps up a condition, but I just think it's a horse that probably is going to be competitive. May need a start or two at this condition to be up there and flirt for the win, but certainly, again, looking at the numbers and the form currently, I think this horse is going to be an absolute fit with this particular mix. In this one, I'm going to do a 4-horse exacta box in here, but then I'm going to back it up, keying my top pick, the 1, over the next 3. So again, I think the 1, Sherry's Tiger, probably going to go off at a short price and be the one to beat. So we'll back ourselves up and just kind of get our money back, perhaps, if Sherry's Tiger wins. But if something crazy happens, and it's getting to be that time of year up the Finger Lakes where maybe some crazy things can happen, we'll go 4 deep, and we'll hope Sherry's Tiger perhaps can get beaten. But I'll box up the 4, 1, 4, 8, and 2, and then I'll put the number 1, Sherry's Tiger, over those next 3 as a backup.
And cast 1 vote for crazy things to happen. On to the feature race this afternoon, 3-year-olds and up. Allowance, non-orders in 3 races in a lifetime, going a mile 70.
4, 5, 2, and 1. The number 4 is I Do Believe. And here's one, Anthony, where I absolutely,
it doesn't make sense.
I don't see the morning line holding up. I Do Believe comes in and gets some venue class relief. I'd raced earlier in the career Ellis, Hoosier, Churchill, Turfway, Keeneland, and most recently Presque Isle. Now, the last race was in June, but these were allowance races at tracks that, again, I think have some definite venue class relief here. But more importantly, trainer George Weaver comes in. I just think that this horse coming in from out of town and with the George Weaver name, I think the betting public is savvy enough that this horse does not get away at 6 to 1. Will it be 3 to 5? I don't know, but I think this price is going to definitely float down just on the connections and, again, the venue class relief. I Do Believe on top for me. Second spot, we'll go out to the number 5, Copywriter. Last start was, I won't say a dud, 5th in a field of 9, but the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 starts prior to that put this horse right in the mix. So again, to me, I don't know if that's an aberration or was affected by the sloppy sealed track perhaps that day, but I think we can maybe expect a rebound closer to the numbers shown prior, which seemed a little more consistent. So Copywriter in the mix at 6 to 1. This is when I'm really going to be paying attention to the odds, because I can't quite see things shaking out the way the morning line says. Hopefully they will. But then the morning line second choice, Chardsy, is in the 3rd position for me, the number 2 horse. Won a nice race, a 12-5 conditional last time. That was the first off a little bit of a summertime layoff. Now comes back and bumps up. So the move up the ladder is maybe a little bit of a concern. But I think that last win shows this horse is in some very, very good form right now. I'm not going to use the morning line favorite in here, In Harm's Way, the number 6 horse. 2 to 1 on the morning line. I don't really have any argument with the horse. Comes off a nice allowance win, N2L, now goes N3L. So when it got down to the last few spots, I certainly could have put that horse in the mix, but I don't think it's, I'm going to be interested to see, as I say, how these odds shake out as compared to the morning line. I'm not sure by the time the betting ends, In Harm's Way will be the choice in here. So in the 8th at Finger Lakes, 4, 5, 2, and 1.
And on to the finale. We have 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Claimers in for 4,500, non-winners to 2 lifetime, going 6.
8, 3, 2, and 9. The number 8 is John's Mariah. Just gets the nod on the class relief moving in here from the NYRA circuit. Even money on the morning line. This is one I think the morning line probably has it right. Comes into the barn of Chris Engelhardt. Now, the question mark is going to be the surface. Threw in an absolute dud in an off-the-turf event 2 starts back at Saratoga. That was a sloppy sealed track. Did show some early speed. Class-wise was far up the class scale as compared to today. I'm going back to August of 2012, a muddy dirt track up at Saratoga, ran a decent 2nd. So I think there is some things in the past performances that say the surface switch is not going to be an obstacle. And again, I think this horse has an absolute class edge. John's Mariah on top. Number 3, Rocky Field in the 2nd spot, just in some very good form right now. The 2nd place finish last time, I think, showed Again, the form cycle is moving in the right direction. And then Cadenaris, number 2 in the 3rd spot, another one that I think you can look over the last 3 races. The finishing positions show that this horse may be up in the mix. The buyer figure may be a little light as compared to the top 2, but just kind of searching around, looks like the next logical choice. In the 9th at Finger Lakes this afternoon, 8, 3, 2, and 9.
And that wraps up our look at Finger Lakes 4 this morning on the Handicappers Report. This afternoon on Capital Off Track Betting TV 12, we'll have a full slate of horse racing for you, kicking off with Finger Lakes at 12:15, followed by Parks, Monticello, Beulah, Zia Park, Turf Paradise out in Phoenix, Dover Downs, Northfield, Pompano, and Yonkers Raceway getting started at 7:10 this evening. Also, if you missed any of Seth or my selections, go to capitalotb.com, click on the Handicappers Report, the Today one. You'll get all of our selections for this afternoon at Parks and Finger Lakes. And also, Capital Off Track Betting's newest wagering platform is up and running at capitalotbbet.com. And as we have mentioned, we invite your questions or issues. Please send them to viewermail at capitalofftrackbetting.com, and we are going to take a look at them and put them together and answer them probably in the order of which ones seem to show up with the highest frequency, but we want to get everybody into the flow of it, because I think, Seth, once you get into the flow of it, it is an easy system, but change can be difficult sometimes, and learning a way around it, and we are here to help, but trust us, it is for the marketably better, the latest capitalotbbet.com.
Absolutely.
Who do we have in Racing Across America kicking off the week?
Starting the week, Catskill Steve Trajanian from Monticello Raceway. We haven't talked to him in a few months, but we're going to give our friends on the sulky side a little nod and give some thoughts for Monticello for this afternoon. Then we're going to be visited by Frank Vespi of the RacingBiz.com. His website, of course, covers racing in the Mid-Atlantic. Frank himself is located down in Maryland, so I thought we'd invite him on to take a look at that nice day of stakes action they had down at Laurel on Saturday. So we'll take a recap of their 4 stakes races.
All right, that's Racing Across America. That is up next. Have a great afternoon at the races.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.